Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacconiana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home. Today we have a vintage automatic petrol lighter made in Japan. I think it would be safe to call this a lady lighter, considering the pearl and vine motif, although to each his own, you never know. The mechanism is sort of a miniaturized version of the Ronson Adonis. There is a video in the works where we repaired this. It just hasn't been edited yet, so keep your eyes out for that. I don't know if the gold tone that is marked here on the front side of the mechanism is supposed to be the brand name or just a description, but either way it is marked gold tone. And as we saw a while ago, it is marked Japan. And it's a little bit sort of a joined case over the top of the tank. It's what forms the outside of the lighter. It does have a loop back here, which makes me think that perhaps it had a tassel on it at some point in time. Maybe, maybe not. Has a sort of brush finish to the case of the lighter. And while it does say gold tone, you could also say that it looks just like brass. I'm no expert on metals. We've talked about that many times. So just my 2 cents here. But it is an attractive lighter. And maybe not the most dependable lighter that I've ever used. Seems like it should be more dependable than it is. Seems like it should light more reliably than it does, considering the amount of spark that it's putting out. And I don't know, maybe that has something to do with it still having the original wick in it. I'm sure it's still the original wick and wadding. So the mechanism seems to move properly. See that big spark? It is kind of small, so occasionally, just as you saw the other day with the Barlow B15 lighter, it's kind of hard to manipulate a mechanism that's so tiny that you're doing well just to hold it in your hand. And I don't know, maybe we should change the wick in it and just see if it lights any more reliably with the brand new wick in it. As it is an attractive lighter, so it does have some value. Nothing outrageous. I'd say probably in the $25 to $30 range. At the highest. It's the kind of lighter that I've seen in a set with a cigarette case that might have a similar motif, but when I came into possession of this one, it was just a lighter. There was no cigarette case with it. But you can see that the pearl motifs there embedded in this vine or branch with leaves, whichever it is not unattractive, although obviously not exactly aesthetically appealing to everyone just the same. I think you can see what I mean by saying that this is a miniaturized version of the Ronson Adonis mechanism. Just like all the Ronson mechanisms, they all pretty much function the same up front. It's just a matter of this thumb lever being a little bit different. So having this long thumb lever that stays in place is a little bit different than your piston spring type thumb lever that you have on your Ronson Standard and all of those type clones. Mechanism similar to the one you see here in the background. That's not a Ronson either. That is a, I can't remember the brand of it. But you can see, as I mentioned earlier, it seems as though it sparks really well. But the actual ignition, I'd say at best we're looking at one of every 5 times that you press the button that it's igniting. And occasionally here, as you've been watching this video, when I go to press it, my thumb will be up a little too high, which will inhibit the mechanism from having the full force brought on it as the thumb lever is actuated. So anyway, just showing off this lighter that doesn't really seem to work all that well, and perhaps we will perform another project or two on it. Maybe we will replace that wick. I get questions all the time about replacing the wick and wadding in different lighters. So why not if it might help somebody out? And you can see that many times it does shower those sparks up there on that wick, and it'll catch just like you would hope that it would. But then at other times you press the button to no success at all, other than a spark that looks like it should be sufficient, but apparently is not. And that could be because of the wick not necessarily being all that suitable. Could be, I doubt it. I don't think it would still be suffering from vapor lock because we filled this lighter up several days ago now. But some issues to ponder and maybe some issues to work on down the line. Until next time.